What up? It's your boy T-Bear here in the reaction. Today is Wrestling Wednesday. We're going to be about to do another video from Wrestling Flashback. While I watched this nice video he did telling about himself and everything and talk about YouTube wrestling, YouTube and all that. Good video. If you watched it as watching on your own, do a reaction with it, definitely check it out though as well too. He's a cool guy. So definitely a good video he got right here. I'm about to check out which WWE era was better between the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era. That been a good conversation toss up for a good while, like between the two of the best eras of wrestling though. Know what I'm saying? I'm always, and they were my favorite era, and I one of the very few who was a fan of the New Generation era. That was like the era right before Attitude Era, the era that had Diesel, Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon, Bret Hart, and many others, but it was like overlooked because it was too gimmicky at the time. For half was too gimmicky and all that, and he said he was going to ride with the Nitro and all that. So that's that. But the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era is always the tough up. Cause the Attitude Era was the era that made WWE who come up top against WCW with the Nitro Monday Night War, and the Ruthless Aggression Era was what kept WWE still on top as the merger happened between WWE and WCW, and some new faces came into the game like Brock Lesnar, John Cena, Randy Orton, Batista, as well as a lot of new matches came through. So either way, this has always been the biggest debate of all time. I'll say so. Before he go his, I'll say my little piece of each one. The Attitude Era was definitely good for the edgy content they put out, while the Ruthless Aggression Era was edgy, but also had also one of the most talented of all times. A lot of people say that the Attitude Era had the edginess, but it was too much edge and less talent, while the Ruthless Aggression Era had somewhat of a balance a little bit. So that's why I like to hear. I heard, and that's somewhat my opinion as well too. And as I feel like both had their balance as well too. But this is going to be a good toss up and good conversation. So without further ado, let's see what do Mr. Wrestling Flashback think was the better era between the two. So let's get it.
Wrestling fans have gone back and forth on the two greatest eras in WWE history. Fans still have a strong nostalgia for both eras of wrestling. The Attitude Era lasted from about 1997 to 2001. The Ruthless Aggression Era lasted from 2002 to 2008, with many fans having more of a focus on great wrestling. While both had their moments, the Ruthless Aggression Era always seems like it is talked about less in wrestling circles. But in this video, we break down both eras into 8 key areas of discussion and determine which era takes the crown. So without further ado, let's get into it. Number 1, star power.
Yes.
What really separated the Attitude Era from the rest was the tremendous star power. Austin, Rock, Triple H and DX, The Undertaker, Kane, Kurt Angle, and Mick Foley. I mean, the star power of Stone Cold and The Rock alone made the Attitude Era stand out above others.
Facts.
Attitude Era fans were spoiled by having 2 faces of the company compared to 1.
Yep.
The Ruthless Aggression Era forced WWE's hand to build new talents from scratch. Stone Cold retiring due to injury and The Rock leaving for Hollywood exposed WWE's depth. Projects like John Cena, Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, and Batista completely changed the dynamic. Although these were
big four though, and somebody actually posted a video, made a post saying that them guys was like what the NBA 2003 draft was like, and I agree.
They're all great, they just can't match the star power in the Attitude Era. Attitude Era 1, Ruthless Aggression Era 0. Number 2, deep roster. In the Attitude Era, only 3 guys made up the bulk of the main event scene: Stone Cold, The Rock, and Triple H. While others did reach the main event scene, they never really lasted very long. Guys like Kurt Angle, The Undertaker, and even Mick Foley were in the scene for a matter of months, and guys like Owen Hart and Chris Benoit weren't given the push many feel that they deserve back.
And I would like to say right now, since he brought it up, it's been years. RP to Owen Hart, because I think it's been like a certain amount of years. Is the anniversary recently passed of his the unfortunate events, incident that caused us to lose on her. Let me take a look at it real quick though. Trying to remember when was that? How many years ago? 1999. So yeah, officially 23 years since that sadly incident.
Then the Ruthless Aggression Era didn't have the top level star power as the Attitude Era, but the roster was significantly deeper.
Yes.
We even had the chance to witness the evolution of talents like Randy Orton, John Cena, and Batista. The main event scene started to constantly change. Guys like Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle, Big Show, Eddie Guerrero, Edge, RVD, Chris Benoit, Booker T, JBL, and Rey Mysterio were given main event pushes throughout the years. For the most part, nobody stayed in the main event scene for too long, with the exception of Triple H, and in later years, John Cena.
Okay.
But new faces kept coming in, keeping it fresh throughout the era. For this reason, the Ruthless Aggression Era takes it here. Attitude Era 1.
Especially with the whole, especially how they did Undertaker. That is definitely a good point right there too, right there. And you know why I said year when they Triple H, because you know we're still painful reminder of the Reign of Terror, as we're possibly, like I said, we're possibly going through Reign of Terror 2, pun intended, with the tribal piece of trash.
Ruthless Aggression Era 1. Number 3, competition and ratings. WWE's timing of the Attitude Era may have saved the company from falling apart, as WCW surpassed them in the ratings war for the Monday night shows. This competition brought out the best and made wrestling must-see. The ratings peaked during the Attitude Era, with Raw and SmackDown bringing in millions of viewers. WWE's best ratings in the late 90s would more than double some of their shows on television today, with many more casual viewers. However, having no competition wasn't a problem in the Ruthless Aggression Era because of the brand split. The brand split forced both the Raw and SmackDown rosters to step up their game. Raw and SmackDown had their own unique rosters to create a level of competition missing from the wrestling business after WCW ended. SmackDown was arguably the hit, with Paul Heyman's vision leading the product to stronger results. And the talent was undeniable, especially with the SmackDown 6 of Edge, Rey Mysterio, Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, and Chavo Guerrero. However, overall, the viewers started to decline as the wrestling industry fell off out of the spotlight compared to the late 90s. Any argument for the Attitude Era being the best must mention the ratings for television. So in this category, the Attitude Era has to take it. Attitude Era 2, Ruthless Aggression Era 1.
I agree.
Number 4, matches. The Attitude Era pay-per-views usually had 1 or 2 standout matches per show. There were some great ones in there, such as Austin Rock at WrestleMania 17, Triple H Cactus Jack at Royal Rumble 2000, Austin Triple H at No Way Out 2001, and TLC 2 at WrestleMania 17. But overall, it wasn't known as being amazing for wrestling. However, during the Ruthless Aggression Era, fans were getting spoiled by the higher level of competition. There are certainly more Ruthless Aggression matches that fans would go out of their way to watch than in the Attitude Era.
That is facts.
The quality of the in-ring work improved dramatically in the Ruthless Aggression Era. Talents like Kurt Angle, Eddie Guerrero, and Chris Benoit became bigger parts of the show with outstanding matches. Newer stars joined the company, with the core of Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, and Rey Mysterio taking it to another level. The winner in this category has to be the Ruthless Aggression Era. Attitude Era 2.
I gotta say, shout out to him for still like acknowledging Chris Benoit. You know, a lot of people try to take away from it. Though, what's all of these YouTube channels to still acknowledge Chris Benoit? You know, WWE is still trying to erase it because of all the incident and all that. But shout out to the YouTube wrestling YouTubers for keeping it alive.
Ruthless Aggression Era 2. Number 5. Stories. We know the Attitude Era for its insane drama.
It's me, Austin! Oh, son of a bitch!
While the Ruthless Aggression Era focused on making stories that stayed more realistic and less controversial, minus the Katie Vick angle and the Lita pregnancy angle. Oh, and also that storyline where Vince McMahon wanted to go up against God.
God. What a reminder of that. Wow. But especially the Katie Vick, and then I told you the Kane Lita thing was, including Edge, was so conflicting as hell.
But we'll leave that to one side for now. In the Attitude Era, you had the great Austin McMahon feud, Austin Rock, Triple H Cactus Jack, Hart Michaels, Corporate Ministry, Undertaker Kane. They were longer lasting and arguably more dramatic.
Where to, Stephanie?
Holy shit. And Jim Ross.
In the Ruthless Aggression era, you had Taker Orton, Batista Triple H, Angle Lesnar, Edge Cena, DX McMahon, Guerrero Mysterio. WWE started to utilize elements of reality in the Ruthless Aggression era
they did.
to separate themselves from the Attitude Era. Evolution worked because the story showed the reality of a top star trying to maintain that power, an older veteran wanting to associate with greatness, and two younger talents trying to make their names.
Nothing can stop us from making history.
SmackDown referenced the legitimate backstory of Eddie Guerrero overcoming personal demons during his rise to the top of WWE.
It's a different kind of high tonight.
R.I.P. Eddie.
Also over on Raw, we saw the love triangle of Edge, Lita, and Matt Hardy play out for the world to see.
That shit still sit crazy with me though. How they put that real life situation in there. Between that and the Kurt Angle, Jeff Jarrett, and Kurt Angle love triangle as well too, man. That was like two of the most personal wrestling storylines of all time, man. To me, and maybe some of them was like super personal, but them two definitely is up there. Like they went way too far on that.
You've been married and divorced multiple times before you were 30 years old. I think that speaks volumes right there.
I think it speaks volumes that you've had one serious relationship by the time you're 30.
So overall, we have these on a level par for different reasons. In the Attitude Era, you cared more about the main stories, but it was also let down by some really bad story decisions filtered in.
Oh man, that crazy reminder right there. It was funny, but still.
In the Ruthless Aggression Era, there seemed to be better character development for more superstars. So in this category, it's a tie. Attitude Era 3, Ruthless Aggression Era 3. Number 6, unpredictability.
Ooh, this is a good one.
The Attitude Era was so unpredictable. You really had to tune in every week to see what would happen. OMFG moments constantly. Wrestling promotions need to keep a product unpredictable, but they shouldn't put too much effort into that. It sacrifices the overall story. There were occasions where the Attitude Era did get a bit too wild with some swerves that went poorly or hurt the long-term future.
I did it for
The Rock. Yeah.
I did it. The Rock. I did.
I'm sorry, but every time The Rock do the imitation, it still kills me every time with the look. I did it for. We let's go back.
The Rock. I did it for The Rock. I did it. Shut your mouth, you thong-wearing fatty.
What? Oh, it's funny. And two, I told you every time, I love that they didn't let Rock. They didn't do the cliche stuff they do it now, like they do it with the whole the bloodline nonsense. They let Rock not say fuck all that. It's like pretty much like fuck all that. You did it out of your selfish pride. I ain't in this. Don't put me in this. Don't say you did it for me. Shut your ass up. You did it for yourself.
However, the better moments were pivotal for the overall success. Fans reacted with genuine happiness at Mick Foley winning the WWE Championship for the first time since it was never expected. Even the mid-card picture and tag divisions had consistent changes and curveballs to keep the audience on their toes instead of growing stagnant. Again, the Ruthless Aggression Era had its moments, but it can't be compared with the unpredictability of the Attitude Era. Attitude Era 4, Ruthless Aggression Era 3. Number 7, use of women.
Oh, now this is gonna be a good one. I think I'm gonna say I'm thinking I'm gonna get Ruthless Aggression this one. I'm gonna say already. I think Ruthless Aggression get this one, but we'll see.
With the exception of China, women were largely hired just because of sex appeal and not ability.
This is for all the women who want to be me and for the men who come to see me.
During the Ruthless Aggression Era, WWE finally realized that fans want to see women who could actually wrestle. In the Attitude Era, Trish Stratus wasn't necessarily a star. She'd had a couple of notable moments and showed signs of improvement in the ring, but nothing to distinguish her from the rest of the model-turned wrestlers. Come to the Ruthless Aggression Era, she had some intense feuds with the likes of Jazz, Molly Holly, Victoria, and eventually Lita, culminating in a match in the main event of Raw. Although it wasn't as
I will say this. I always say, hold on.
as it is today.
funny that they talk about this because I can't. Despite her current alignment right now, I said the same thing about Mandy Rose because a lot of people was giving her a lot of hate. But I feel like she could be the next Trish Stratus though. She still got possibly there. She definitely is improving though. But yeah. Though they made her champion NXT, so that's some improvement. But yeah,
As there was still bikini contests, bra and panties matches, and the awful Raw Diva search. But overall, the Ruthless Aggression era definitely improved on the Attitude era in terms of the use of women.
Mickie James.
Of course, depending on what you're into.
Right.
The winner in this category, Ruthless Aggression era. Attitude era
Called
4,
it!
Ruthless Aggression
Nice.
era 4. And the final category, number 8,
crowds.
crowd.
This is gonna be
One of the
interesting.
greatest aspects of the Attitude era was how excited the crowd atmosphere was.
I'm gonna say possibly it's gonna be a toss up, but I got a feeling it might lean towards the Attitude era. Reason why I say that because with the Attitude era, the crowd would affect the alignment of a wrestler. I will say that. That's one reason I say at least slightly where the crowd reaction did affect the alignment of wrestler more than it did in the Ruthless Aggression era and currently right now as well too. Like I will say this: if the Undisputed era was wrestling in the Attitude era, they would not be heels; they'd be faces. But just the fact that the crowd was rooting, especially Adam Cole, the crowd would be rooting for them left and right. They would not be heels or anything. Like you see, like I'll say this because the double turn and the turn between Austin and Brett happened mainly because of the crowd. Most of the time, a double turn happened because of the decision. Double turn always happened because of the crowd, but this is like the biggest double turn of all time was that happened because of the crowd. Kurt Angle becoming being a heel instead of a face with his Olympic hero gimmick was based off the crowd, not because they made him a heel off the bat. It was based off the crowd reaction. And yes, you had to go with it though. With the you do not boo a Olympic gold medalist thing situation as well too. DX becoming tweeners and face later on was based on crowd reaction because they was getting popular and getting over. And having go to WCW, the WO Wolfpack happened because the crowd was loving NWO. They didn't want to make NWO himself a whole group who was intent on destroying WCW faces. So they decided to make a separate version of NWO to get them over as faces and tweeners. But yeah, this is my opinion. Folks might disagree or disagree, but I feel like that should lean towards the Attitude era on this one. But we'll see.
Every episode of Raw, SmackDown, and especially the pay-per-views saw the top faces receiving massive pops and the heels being greeted with even louder, vulgar chants.
Exactly.
The pop of Stone Cold making his way to the ring every week was something only fans of the Attitude Era could have experienced.
Yeah. Woo! The pop for Eddie, yes, especially Austin. The pop for Austin when that glass shattered here, woo! Is heaven. It's heavenly. It's organic.
Hulk Hogan, John Cena, and top stars from other eras couldn't even compare to the top stars of the Attitude Era.
Facts.
Due to the environment. The Ruthless Aggression Era had its moments.
Rock the same way in a way. Rock the same way too. Like his whole face turn kind of was influenced by the crowd, then scripted.
But nothing that could top the consistency of the Attitude Era.
Yes. Like
The winner in this final category is the Attitude Era.
call.
So overall, with
Well,
the
another one I call. So yeah, I told you because like I said, he made a good point. The faces was getting like it was not a single face that got booed like you see nowadays or anything. Like you dealt with Cena and Roman during his face runs, they was getting booed and there was faces. You did not experience faces getting booed. And if the face would get booed, it would lose in the current heel. But nowadays, it's like the WWE creators or booking don't listen to the crowd anymore. They don't give a shit what the crowd think. They'll keep going based on their storyline and everything. Because like I said, a lot of wrestlers a lot of alignments would be changing if it was going on. If the Attitude Era crowd was there, a lot of alignments wouldn't be what they are. I would say Roman Reigns would have been turned heel during his big, won't like it during his big dog day when they was booing him. John Cena possibly become heel later on as well too. But the current tribal chief character would probably eventually be faced by now. The way they're slowly getting better. I told you for it. Adam Cole and Undisputed Era would not be heels as well too. Legado would definitely not be heels. They've been the face off the bat just because they've been faced right now. As of right now, though, at least they did it right. They doing right with Dominant and everything because they was face, but they was heels, but they eventually made no faces because of that. And they I will say this: NXT is like the only one, and some with AEW is like the only one. Well, I'm not sure about AEW in that part because with the situation with Scorpio Sky, Sammy Guevara, like you had a. I'll talk about that in the video, but as far as NXT though, this is a WWE video. NXT had done a good job with listening to the crowd and making certain wrestlers or groups faces based on crowd reaction. They did it with UE later on, which is deserving. They did it with Sanity because they were started out of heels, but they were so popular they made them faces. Hit Row as well too. They eventually became faces. We was hoping they kind of do with Legado, but they still ain't doing it. They almost did, but then they did it with Diamond Mine and some other wrestlers like Velveteen Dream. They did it with EC3 as well too. Like they know what to do sometimes when they come to the turn of going with the crowd reaction instead of just keeping with their own little personal storyline, whatever, as well too. But the Attitude Era was definitely known for that, though. That's why some of the biggest guys who was like, and as well as even the New Generation Era, because a lot of the guys who were big heels in the last minute of the Superstar Era became the biggest face of the New Generation Era, like Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon, Diesel as well. So yeah. But Attitude Era definitely made guys you would think who they have who started as heel became bigger faces down the line, like Triple H and the DX. Well, he would become the biggest heel again. The Rock, and more importantly, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Mick Foley. He was like the psycho heel in the beginning during the New Generation Era, but after her, he became so popular, he became one of the biggest and lovable baby faces of the Ruthless of the Attitude Era, and even Kane a little bit in a way, and Undertaker. But yeah, so Attitude Era definitely deserved the points for the crowd part.
Of 5-4, the Attitude Era has to take it here. Just because it was the best time to be watching as a fan. Raw was the be-all and end-all.
Oh, yeah,
Nitro was a good alternative for the most part. After that, Raw and SmackDown weren't and never have been on equal footing. It was the most successful time in WWE history. The storylines, characters, and roster were perfect, and everyone had a purpose on the show. Although the Ruthless Aggression Era had a good balance achieved between quality adult stories and an excellent level about the ring, it was the Attitude Era which brought wrestling back to the mainstream.
It did.
And was something new at the time. The Ruthless Aggression Era gradually saw that mainstream press dying up. It seems that the Ruthless Aggression Era is looked upon more fondly in hindsight rather than at the time, now that we've seen the huge careers that the stars in that era have gone on to have. It ultimately led us to going into the PG era, but we'll save our opinions on that for another day. But that brings us to the end of this video. As always, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. And if you like this video, be sure to check out our comparison of HBK in the 90s compared to the 2000s.
I might check that one out another time though. But yeah, this was another good video. I mean, wrestling Flashback, you doing your thing, man. He doing anything in this video though, and that was good. Now, the reason I was gonna say about AEW with crowd reaction, there's someone okay with it, but some of them not good with it though. Like I'm glad Cody went to WWE. He's beginning the face part deserved, but like that was a big confliction situation with Cody Rhodes. They was booing Cody, he's supposed to be the face, and they was rooting for the heel that go get some but more than even Dan Lambert's getting hit. Root for more. And then the situation with Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti with Scorpio Sky and America Top Team, thinking we was going to have a double turn when Scorpio won the championship again, and then his match against Frank Zack, he go back to being heelish. I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you toying with us with that situation. And then they try to add Frank Azaria with Sammy Guevara to keep Zaire in the face pop, but it's not working. It's like they don't know what don't work. And I will say some of the AEW guys, if guys like Britt Baker, women's like if Britt Baker, Scorpio Sky and them, who else? House of Black as well, and Hook. Well, they did finally change Hook, but still, it wouldn't took that long with Hook. Either way, guys like that who are heels that's getting a little more popped in the faces would not be heels in the Attitude Era. They would be in faces right away, as quickly. It would turn them faces soon as possible. They won't have to wait for the go ahead from creative. They will do it right away and everything. While Sammy and even Cody at the time would turn B heel already, but they're too focused on. That's why sometimes it made me say they need to get rid of the alignment situation, especially because nowadays it's flawed. It wasn't as flawed, especially in the Attitude Era and some of the Ruthless Aggression Era. It wasn't as flawed. They knew what they was doing. They listened to the crowd, and the crowd made the alignment change. The crowd controlled the alignment change for a lot of wrestlers. Like, that's why you had guys, a badass, foul mouth, beer drinking guy like Stone Cold Steve Austin as a face, a petty, savage guy like The Rock as a face, and DX, who was about breaking the rules and making the rules, became face because the crowd loved that. And while you have guys like Kurt Angle who think he's better than everybody because he was a living gold medalist and all of that if the crowd thought was born in, they made him heel and all that. They made him good face during the invasion. Well, this was perfect though, because it was like a perfect role for him though, to be the hero. They later on foiled it because of their love for The Rock though. But other than that, if you agree, let me know. If not, I understand. But if regardless, the whole reaction, if you like my reaction, like, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's your boy T-Bear signing off. One love.